Well, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is still threatening to sue me over a statement that I made on March 29th. And I stand by every single word of that statement. In fact, I just repeated it moments ago outside the chamber. He claims that I will face consequences for exposing his potentially illegal interference in a criminal trial. But the only consequence seems to be that the Prime Minister will be forced to finally tell the truth. So when will I see him in court?
The Honourable Prime Minister.
On misleading Canadians. It shows that they're still following Stephen Harper's playbook. We put him on notice because he and his party have a history of making false and defamatory statements. That's what he did in December against the Minister of Innovation. He was forced to swallow his words, his false words, and retract his statements. We won't stand by while he continues to mislead Canadians.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The Prime Minister asked his lawyers to send me a letter where he threatened to take me to court if I didn't retract what I said on March 29th. Not only will I not retract that, but I repeated every word of that statement, and I did so outside of the chamber. So I asked the Prime Minister, when will we see each other in court to discuss this corruption scandal? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. The opposition continues to mislead Canadians. This shows that they are still following the same way of doing things as under Stephen Harper. We put them on notice because he and his party have a history of making false and defamatory statements. He will have to withdraw what he said, and that's what he had to do in December when he had to swallow those false words and withdraw his statement against the Minister of Innovation. We will not stand idly by while he continues to mislead Canadians. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The Minister seems to be missing an important fact here. It's that I'm not withdrawing my remarks. In fact, I'm standing by them, and I repeated them outside of the House of Commons. So once again, if the Prime Minister is so sure of his case, will he commence court proceedings so that Canadians can finally hear the truth about this scandal?
The Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Conservatives continue to mislead Canadians, and Canadians deserve better. On Monday, the Conservative leader refused to denounce white supremacists in this House. On Tuesday, a Conservative senator said, quote, "I would find it disturbing to believe that there's a politician in this country that believes that white supremacy is a threat to our way of life in Canada." When will the Conservative leader finally denounce white supremacists by name, and will he denounce comments from a member of his own caucus?
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Your typical Liberal smear tactics. They know that I have always 100% denounced white supremacy and racism and anyone who promotes those hateful ideologies. He also knows that that senator withdrew and clarified his remarks and that I continue to denounce those types of messages. And this is what is disgusting about this. They are using the very real threat of hatred and racism in this country to cover up their corruption scandal.
The honourable member for Whitby will come to order, please. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we seem to have hit a nerve in the way the Conservatives are misleading Canadians on intolerance. Let's try them on climate. Today, we learned the Conservatives are hiding from their own constituents tax benefits that would give Canadians hundreds of dollars. See, Conservatives want to take hundreds of dollars away from families in New Brunswick, in Ontario, in Manitoba, in Saskatchewan. Indeed, their only plan seems to be to mislead mislead Canadians about our plan to fight climate change. That is even more unacceptable. They continue to mislead Canadians.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The only thing a Conservative government will take away from Canadians is their obligation to pay his carbon tax. That will come to an end this October. Now, Canadians finally want to see the Prime Minister testify under oath. They finally want to see documents presented to court in an environment that his members of Parliament can't control. So once again, I have stood by everything I have said. When will the Prime Minister finally start the lawsuit?
The Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, once again, in his very first words in that last intervention, the Leader of the Opposition emphasized that the first thing he would do if he gained power was to make pollution free again. We know, Mr. Speaker, and Canadians know, that climate change is real, and yet it has been 346 days since the Leader of the Opposition promised a climate plan and has not shown anything. He has no plan for the environment, no plan for the economy. All he does is mislead Canadians.